Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hello, hello.
How we doing?
pretty good. Considering I got the right meeting time this time. So,
So funny, bro. I was dying. We were all dying.
oh my god, I was like so scared. I was like, this does not look like a Senate leadership meeting.
Now we can just schedule ours for this week. Should be a quick meeting, hopefully. Not many things on the agenda. Colin's going to be introducing a resolution during committee of the whole for the IFC statement. But besides that, should be straightforward. And there's Amber.
Y'all know you can talk to each other while you're hanging out before the meeting starts. You forget that social side of it. Like, hey, I miss you people.
I'm going through some work right now, otherwise I would be.
That was my reminder to not forget Senate.
I'm about to say, that's a beautiful soundtrack for this, Bobby.
Steven, you got to update your headshot on your Zoom picture. That's like first year.
Yes, when I had about 3 times more hair and twice as much beard.
Good old days.
They were not good old days, and you know that too, Bobby. We were more worried about impeaching Cat Shriver then.
There you go. I saw Kenneth posted something recently, and I couldn't stop laughing because his picture is still, it's the two of you on Facebook.
Kenneth's living his best life in New Jersey, like locked down on a military base or something.
Right? It's a nightmare.
We're currently one short of quorum, but we should have quorum. So it should be good.
I saw there were like 9 people, and then I remembered quorum is a lot less this year.
Well, I mean, it's 8 for the summer, but yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. I think we're still waiting on a couple people to join the meeting, so we'll begin in a few minutes here. Just hang tight. All right, seeing as we have quorum, I'm going to call this meeting to order. The time is now 4:02 p.m. I'm going to do a quick roll call. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and let me know if you're present or not. Chair Barrett?
Here.
Chair Benzea?
Here.
Senator El Hadidi? I'm here. Pro Tem Logan? No. Vice Chair Long?
Here.
Vice Chair McFerrin?
Here.
Senator Murphy is not here. Senator Olmsted?
Here.
Senator Parkhurst?
Here.
Chair Powell?
Here.
Senator Reich?
Here.
Vice Chair Richards is not here. Senator Sarsour?
Here.
All right. Senator Shett?
Here.
Chair Shukla?
Here.
Member at Large Smith?
Here.
And Senator Twarnite.
Yeah.
All right, we have 14 present. Fantastic. We've got in quorum. Okay, moving down the agenda. It's now time for petitions and messages. Do I have a message from the student body president?
Yes, you do. I have a lot of updates, but I'm going to try to be as short as I can, so I could be cognizant of y'all's time. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'll first talk about the meetings that I've been in a lot these past couple of weeks regarding the fall semester. So I've been meeting with interim Vice Chancellor Sauls pretty frequently about how we're going to be able to adjust to campus life come August or whenever we go back to school. I'm sure y'all saw Amy Johnson is now going to be taking over as of August 1st in that role, and then interim Vice Chancellor will go back to his associate position. We've also been meeting with Chancellor Guskowitz pretty frequently. He is working really, really hard and being cognizant of public health officials' warnings and just measures of when there could be a second wave. So he's being very cognizant of that. And him and his administration are being very transparent and really prioritizing the well-being of students. We had a meeting with him, a few members of EBO and the KSHIV and a few others last week, along with the GPSF, about questions, comments, concerns that students had in the face of coming back to campus in the fall. So we're just kind of trying to see how we can maintain like social distancing guidelines while reducing class flow and keeping classes open to students. So there are still some options being considered, but there should be an announcement either later this week or early next week. I'm sure you'll have seen other universities across the United States starting to make decisions. So we're just being, very, very cautious about making a decision because once again, Chancellor Guskowitz, excuse me, is really prioritizing the well-being of students. On Thursday morning, I have my first meeting as a Board of Trustee member. So I actually got sworn in a few hours ago via Zoom, which is kind of interesting. So I'll be starting in that position. Thank you. I'm really excited, and I'll keep y'all updated with that as that goes. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw last week or the week before the executive branch released a statement regarding the Interfraternity Council situation that occurred in February and their lack of response to it. So we are currently waiting for a response by the Interfraternity Council Executive Board. However, I do know that they're currently working on a pledge by individual fraternity presidents to commit to working with Champions for Change, which is an independent organization under the Interfraternity Council dedicated to gender-based violence prevention, to be able to follow through IFC plans to kind of change the culture from within. We also had a meeting either last week or the week before with some senators, the campus-wide co-presidents, Delta Advocates, which is a similar group under Panhandle, and then the Champions for Change to discuss, how we can hold public accountability, both from a third-party perspective and then within the Interfraternity Council. So those are still ongoing conversations. Orientation is beginning in early June. So I've been talking with Jen Mallon, who's the director of New Student and Family Programs, to be able to start with like the information sessions for incoming students so they could gauge their interests and potential organizations that they want to join in the fall, as well as, giving the inaugural, I guess, student body president speech. So we've been hard at work with that, and we're starting that pretty soon. And UNC is far and ahead of its other peer institutions about how we can make orientation as close to the Carolina experience as possible. A lot of different universities are just having like a 2-hour slideshow, whereas ours is still very close to what it would be otherwise. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm very appreciative of their work. I know Daniel, our secretary, and the Keisha are also working on brochures for both the legislative branch and the executive branch for incoming students too. Last week, sorry, I'm almost done, guys. Last week, I had a commencement ad hoc meeting with, oh my gosh, who was it? With a lot of administrators. There are a lot of people in that meeting, but it was discussing potential dates for the class of 2020 commencement. And so we're still looking at a couple of dates there. However, that no decisions have been made officially. Still heeding the warnings of public health officials too, to make sure that we're keeping everybody as safe as possible while still trying to prioritize students being able to graduate. I've been meeting with cabinet through the executive branch and every cabinet chair this past week and a half or so. So I'm really excited to start working with them. Some of them are senators as well, and seeing all their plans come to fruition. Actually, one of the projects we just started on are working with our current ASG liaison, Walt Grayson, and the student safety and wellness co-chairs about a menstrual hygiene project and how we can include our peer institutions and other universities across the UNC system. We are also beginning working on the Red Zone initiative for the fall semester and then later in the summer, pending a name change as well. So we'll keep you updated on that progress. We're also trying to include the Graduate Professional Student Federation this year. I'm sure you'll have seen on my platform, I wanted to be able to include all students instead of just undergraduate students. So we're trying to start that foundation coming this year. 2 more things. Civic Engagement Committee co-chairs, as well as Alyssa, I'll let her talk a little bit more about this, have been meeting pretty consistently with a lot of different student leaders on campus, as well as the Office of Student Life and Leadership about voter registration efforts come the fall semester, obviously given that 2020 is an important election year. So those are going to be a lot of ongoing conversations, and I know Keisha has been a part of those as well. So Synnet's going to be playing a big role in those spaces as well. One last thing is that myself and a few of my senior advisors have been reaching out to other student leaders from different universities. We have had conversations with student body president at Duke, Tommy Hessel, and then the student body president at NC State about a cross-collaboration mental health initiative. I know a lot of students are feeling kind of isolated, and UN even last week announced that there could be global mental health crisis in the coming weeks, given the circumstances we find ourselves in. So trying to help students and their well-being throughout this time is one of our biggest priorities. So we're trying to work with other universities and other student leaders to see how they're kind of taking this on and try to show a front of unity during this time. So that's about it from my side as of now. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more in the coming weeks. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope y'all are doing well, and I hope we get to see your faces in person come the fall.
Beautiful. Thank you, Reeves. Up next, do we have a message from the undergraduate vice president?
Yep, I'll try to keep my updates a little more brief.
Sorry.
Reeves touched upon a lot of what we've been talking about within EVO and within the executive branch. I just also wanted to share with external appointments pending the passing of the bill and some of the changes to the dual prohibition clause, we hope to have all of the external appointment allocations for this cycle out by tomorrow night. So that's something I'm really, really excited for. And then throughout the summer and going into next fall, we're going to continue recruiting individuals, because as of right now, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to fill all of the seats on all of the external appointments. And this is also really great just to ensure that there's representation for those individuals that might have been facing barriers or obstacles towards the end of last semester when we were taking those applications, but also to onboard a lot of really enthusiastic freshmen who want to start contributing to the university. So we're also going to kind of over the summer reach out to different student organizations, different departments, really anyone that wants to get involved, just to ensure that we have as much representation and inclusion of different types of students on these committees as possible. But that's pretty much it from me. If anyone has any questions, either now or after we talk a little bit about the external appointment bill that's on the calendar, more than happy to do it, or just send me a Slack message.
Are there any questions for the Vice President? I'm sorry, I didn't ask for questions earlier before, but if there are any questions for Reeves as well, now's the time to ask them. Just raise your hand on the side. All right, seeing none, thank you, Pri. We have a message from the undergraduate treasurer.
Yeah, so mine's mainly going to focus on what everybody's probably noticed in the past few days has been some questions around the Carolina Impact Fund and more broadly how the university is going to be financially assisting students through the summer and into the fall. So just to clarify with everybody, the Carolina Impact Fund that we have shifted money into from the Student Safety and Security Committee is not out of money. Just to clarify, they closed down their initial application 2 weeks ago for the spring and transitioned to a summer application on Saturday with a 2-week hiatus in between. So the Carolina Impact Fund is not empty, it was just on the hiatus. Additionally, everybody received an email today from Dean Reichenberg basically outlining that the university does intend to use the CARES Act funding that it's gotten to at least in part help students' financial issues over the summer and through the rest of this pandemic. So we're just going to be continuing to keep an eye out on student finances and how the university is approaching the issue of financial assistance over the next few weeks and months. Along with Reeves and our counterparts in the Graduate and Professional Student Federation, we'll be meeting with Dean Reichenberg, I believe, sometime early to mid next week to get a bit more of an update on what the status of the Carolina Impact Fund is, as well as some other details surrounding student financial assistance. Stand for queries.
Are there any questions for the treasurer? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Stephen. Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Do we have a message from the Director of State and External?
Yeah. So to touch on what Reese was talking about with civic engagement, kind of related to what's going on campus, I've been having a lot of meetings, particularly with the Office of Student Life and Leadership, talking about kind of uniting civic engagement efforts across campus, which has led to the creation of a civic engagement coalition, which kind of formally started this past week on Teams. And Keshav and I have also met to discuss how we can involve Senate in civic engagement and voter registration, and considering how Senate can promote voter registration training across campus in the fall. And then in relation to the town of Chapel Hill, last week the Downtown Partnership passed favorably on a marketing campaign. It was contracted through the Rivers Advertising Agency, which is a local company. They're calling this new campaign the Brand for Chapel Hill's Future, and it will be advertised as Experience Downtown Chapel Hill. We'll also be heading into phase 2 at the end of this week of reopening North Carolina, which in Chapel Hill will look like personal services opening, but it's otherwise fairly vague. And then for the UNC system updates, we're coming up on we have 2 weeks left on the deadline for the university to have turned in their plan to the UNC system office for reopening in the fall. There's a Board of Governors committee meeting today, and there will be a general body Board of Governors meeting tomorrow morning. In the committee meetings this morning, UNC proposed 2 new majors. The first one is a Bachelor of Arts in Human and Organizational Leadership and Development. The committee approved it and advises that the Board of Governors accept it, and it would be starting to enroll students in fall 2020, and it is essentially an interdisciplinary studies major with they said it was cross-listed electives in the School of Business, Education, Communication, Public Policy, and Sociology departments. The second major, which was also approved by the committee, was the Bachelor of Arts in Medical Anthropology. They cited a reason for promoting this major because on the UNC Chapel Hill campus, the only existing major in the College of Arts and Sciences related to health is the Bachelor of Arts in Global Studies. So we'll keep you all updated on if those pass tomorrow.
Great, thank you, Alyssa. Are there any questions for Alyssa? All right, seeing none. Do we have a message from the Undergraduate Student Attorney General? Don't think the Attorney General is here today. Okay, do we have a message from the Undergraduate Honor Court Chair? Don't believe so. Okay, do we have a message from the Student Government Advisor? Bobby?
Good to go.
All right, sounds good. There are no papers addressed to the Senate, so we'll move on to the reports of the Senate officers. Do we have a report from the Ethics Committee?
Yes. Okay, two brief things. One, I think that you guys probably all got the email with the agenda. We have finished the student code test, so please make sure you take that, as well as it is codified that I share with you guys any actions we're taking. So I do have to let you all know that a couple weeks ago, I issued a warning to Senator Tornite for absences. We've since resolved all of that stuff. So just share it with you because it's in the code, but that's all that's from me. So thank you.
Beautiful, thank you, Drew. Any questions for Drew? Sounds good. Message from the O&A Chair?
Hi guys, sorry my video's off. I'm having really bad internet connection because it's raining really hard at my house. But there is no new business. The only thing I've been doing so far is conducting the personal interviews with members of my committee, and that's been going really well, and I'm going to finish those up next week. And yeah, there's no new business for O&A.
Awesome, thanks, Elena. Any questions for Elena? Sounds good. Moving on, do we have a message from the R&J Chair?
My only message is that we met last week, R&J did, and we discussed the bill about the dual service clause, which is up for debate today. It's on the general orders calendar. That was a bill that we've all seen before in committee, or in full Senate, that was referred back to the R&J committee. So we discussed that and amended it, and we have it in a better form now. Lamar couldn't make it today, so I'll be presenting that bill.
Sounds good. Any questions for Baxter? All right, thank you, Baxter. Message from the Finance Chair?
Yeah, okay. Hey, everyone. I hope everyone's staying safe and well. And it's a rainy day, so that's kind of sad. But last week, Keshav, Bobby, and I met to go over questions about the treasurer's test, along with other things about the allocation process in the fall, funding days, and the finance code as a whole. So we'll be meeting more often throughout the summer to kind of clear up a lot of things in the finance code. And so the treasurer's test won't actually be written until later. But I will keep y'all updated on that. Other than that, that's all really that finance has to report.
Sounds good. Any questions for Ashna? All right, seeing none. This time, Maya's not here today. I think she's having internet connectivity issues as well due to this form. On my behalf, hello everyone, welcome back to Full Senate. I'm glad to see you're all doing well, hopefully. On my end, things have been fairly eventful the past few weeks. I'm gonna pull up my report. Here we go. All right, yeah, so externally, you already heard from Reeves about the Chancellor's discussions coming back for the fall. It's exciting to see that the Chancellor is very eager to get all of our input from the students on what we think about coming back in the fall, potential health risks and all that. He's taking all of our considerations into consideration and is ensuring that our health and safety is the university's #1 priority. So it's glad to see that that's going on. Alyssa and I have been in talks with varying members across campus, as she mentioned, for voter registration stuff. It's going to be a very important election year this year, and we want to make sure that students on campus are registered to vote if they so choose to be. And we as a representative body want to make sure that we do our utmost to help them in those efforts. And so in the coming days over the summer, I'll be proposing whether it be legislation or new training procedures so that all of us can do our fair share and helping organizations across campus register voters. I'll be organizing a training session, a voter registration training session for all of us. I highly encourage all of you guys to get trained to register voters, and so that we can all do our duty across campus and help the organizations who are spearheading these efforts do their job. It won't be required, but I do highly encourage it. So yeah, looking internally in Senate matters, Ashna mentioned that we're taking a look at the finance process for the coming year, hoping to make sure that we had some bumps along the road last year with finance committee and things that were approved that shouldn't have been approved. And so this year, the funding allocation process is going to look much stricter, not in terms of student clubs, but in terms of the training that we as finance senators get, making sure that finance senators know the code like the back of their hand, knowing what can and cannot be funded, and making sure that when clubs receive funding for things from Senate, that they don't encounter problems with QSO saying that, oh, like this is like there's like a conflict here. We had some issues with that this year. We want to make sure that we don't run into those again. Moving down, I finished up my first round of meetings today with individual senators. Actually, did I finish? I might have another one after this. No, I finished. But yeah, thank you to those of you who signed up for meetings. Please, everybody, I know that you have meetings with both your committee chairs and with myself and Maya. But these meetings are the best way that we have of getting to know you guys while we're all in quarantine. We really want to make sure that we know all of you guys, we understand you guys, and we know what goals you have for Senate this year. Knowing that stuff will help us work much more effectively together and just build a better sense of community within the Senate. So please, if you have not, sign up for a meeting. I'll be reaching out to people individually today who haven't signed up. I'll also be opening up slots for next week to meet with me if this week doesn't work for you. So that'll also be an option. As Drew mentioned, the student code test is now up and running. Please pass that test. You can take it as many times as you need before you pass it. Senators who are not in R&J need a score of greater than 70%. Senators who are in R&J need more than 85%, so please keep that in mind when you're taking the code test. Up next, we will be drafting staff applications this week and sending them out hopefully by the end of the week, if not next week. Our staff is very crucial to the way we run. They head our publicity, they manage our website, they help us take minutes, they help us update the code with our legislation. And so it's really important that we get people to apply for staff positions. If you have friends who are interested in Senate work, who are coming in as first years or who are sophomores, juniors, seniors, whatever grade they may be, when the application goes live, please encourage them to apply. These positions are very important for us in ensuring that we keep up a good public image, ensuring that we update the code properly, things of that nature. Up next, we're also going to be working on a public image, the leadership team, until we get new public relations managers. So I believe we'll be beginning like a senator spotlight campaign. So be on the lookout for that. We'll also be planning a virtual retreat for the summer, so be on the lookout for that as well. Again, just like a team building exercise. Won't be anything formal, just a time for all of us to get together and get to know each other, play some games, maybe over Zoom. And then last but not least, we'll be recording some educational videos for you all on like parliamentary procedure, the code, the standing rules. These will be pretty short videos, but pretty informative to allow you guys to view on your own time whenever you need them as reference. Just because I know that it can be a little bit overwhelming being a first year senator or like a first time senator, not exactly knowing what all the Parley Pro rules are, how the code works, how the standing rules work. And so if you ever have any questions, hopefully these videos can answer a lot of those questions. And always, of course, if you have any more questions outside of that, please reach out to someone on leadership. I promise you we can answer them, if not direct you in the right way. In terms of legislation for tonight, there is a resolution to amend the standing rules to allow for to kind of know what we're doing when we meet remotely, just because there are certain features that Zoom allows us to use that'll help these meetings go along more smoothly. And in the case that we have to meet remotely in future sessions, like over the summer, if not everyone can be there in person, or if God forbid another pandemic happens again, or even for our future summer session meetings, like this summer itself, they'll help us run these meetings a lot more smoothly. Up next, this is not the agenda because it was introduced fairly recently, but we'll be moving to I'll be making a motion to move the committee of the whole to hear a resolution by Colin regarding the ISC speech. It'll be like our version of a statement regarding that speech. So more on that soon. You can view the resolution in the legislation folder right now if you so wish. It's already in there. Been in there for a day now. After that, we'll be hearing the final external appointments bill. Now, this was unanimously passed by R&J. The reason it's on the general orders and not consent is because we wanted it to go in front of full Senate first, just so that everyone got a chance to see it and like ask any questions if they didn't have it. But everyone in R&J agreed on the bill. We thought it was a very new and improved version of the bill. And it's very important that we pass this bill tonight because the external appointments process has been kind of held up since April. We want to make sure those people can start their work as soon as possible. So if you have any questions now, like when we hear that bill, feel free to ask them. And then finally, we'll be codifying our ethical code of conduct. Me and Drew worked on this a couple weeks ago. It's pretty basic, but also necessary. If any of you were in last session, you'll know. So if you have any questions or additions to it when we hear that, we'll be hearing that. And then last but not least, I wanted to discuss a little bit what I see us doing this summer and forward in the session. I've been talking to leadership, been talking to Bobby, and while we're in this kind of quarantine time, while we're all not really meeting regularly like we would during the school year, I really challenge you to engage with your constituents and to get a better sense of what they want and just be a representative, because at the end of the day, that is why we're here. That's why Senate exists, because we're all representatives. We're all elected to voice the opinion of our constituents and of the student body. And so Bobby and I will be working on infrastructure this summer and for the coming fall through Heal Life to help you all get like Heal Life pages by district, through which you can email everyone in your district and send out updates, send out surveys, ask them questions, things of that nature, hold town halls if you so wish. But as a representative branch, we really want to challenge ourselves this session to live up to that title, because in past sessions we have not. So please, when introducing legislation, when considering issues, make sure that the legislation you're introducing and your opinions are not only representative of your own thoughts, but also of your constituents. And so whatever way that may be that you do, that you find best to do that, whether it be a Facebook page or getting on your majors listserv, I challenge you to do that this summer, and you can do that for the fall. That's all for me. Are there any questions for me?
I just interject something really quickly about your last point.
Yeah,
as remember, guys, also when we did our onboarding, it is a codified part of the ethics laws that we do make it a priority to reach out to our constituents, and is something that we can call upon records at any point. So like Keshav said, like really just keep going at it. It's actually like really part of your job title. So
it is your job title, not just really your part. It is our job title. But yeah, thank you, Drew. Any other questions for me? Comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks? No? All right. Moving on, we're now in the public comment period. Are there any members of the public who'd wish to speak for up to 2 minutes? All right, seeing none. We're going to move on to the first order of business on the calendar. I'm going to share my screen so you can all see the resolution. Give me one moment. Here we go. All right, can everyone see this? All right. So essentially, Dexter and I worked on this, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago, and it just adds a few more stipulations to our standing rules to make use of some of the features that Zoom offers to help move our meetings along, so that not everyone has to mute and unmute, and then we're not all like, there's not like a bunch of lag when we're all voice voting and saying aye. So essentially for roll call voting and voice votes, we'll be using the yes, no, and coffee break features in Zoom. An aye vote is yes, a no vote is no, and abstention is coffee break. And I'll tally the votes on there and then put it in my spreadsheet. Same for voice votes, except voice votes are not recorded in the spreadsheet itself. Our minutes will just be recording these calls like I'm doing right now. And these will be made available to the public through the website. And And then ballots will be direct messages to the chair with your vote. We figured this is the best way to do this because secret ballots are banned by the Senate, and so your vote in elections and whatnot are made public record after the election, I believe. And so by having it in the Zoom chat, we're able to save the Zoom chat, or the chair is, whoever the chair is, and that can then be uploaded or copied and pasted into a doc and uploaded to the website as well, along with the notes. So yeah, I stand for questions. Anybody have any questions about this? Want me to scroll to a particular part? I'll stop sharing my screen. Hopefully you all can pull it up yourselves because I need to see the participants. All right, seeing no questions, do I have a motion on the floor to either enter debate or vote on the resolution?
I'm sorry, point of inquiry.
Yeah, what's up?
Just from the text of the, where is the need a coffee break feature? Just as
So if you hit more, so if you click participants, and if you click the three dots that says more, should be a coffee cup.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. I'll pick any motion.
I call for the previous question.
All right. Sorry, wait, actually, what was it?
I call for the previous question to vote on the bill.
Yeah. Okay, I have a second.
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 All right, so we'll now be voting on the resolution. Give me 1 second. Please note this needs a 2/3 vote to pass. All right. So seeing as we have not passed these rules yet, I'm going to need a roll call vote. So I'm going to go down in order and call on you guys. 1, 6. All right. Chair Barrett?
Yes.
Chair Benzea?
Yes.
Senator El Hadidi is not here. I vote yes. Senator Pro Tem Logan is not here, I believe. Yeah. Vice Chair Long?
Yes.
Vice Chair McFerrin?
Yes.
Murphy's not here. Senator Onstead?
Yes.
Senator Parkhurst?
Yes.
Chair Powell?
Yes.
Senator Reich? That was a yes. Okay. Richard is not here. Senator Sarsour?
Yes.
Senator Shett?
Yes.
Chair Shukla?
Yes.
Member at Large Smith?
Yes.
And Senator Twarnite?
Yes.
Fantastic. With a vote of 14 to not, the bill passes. 1 moment. All right. I'm now going to move to enter committee of the whole. Give me 1 second. All right. So we need a 2/3 vote in order to go to committee of the whole to hear Colin's resolution. And so if I could get, now that we've approved the standing rules, if I could get you all to vote either yes, no, or coffee break on the motion, please do so now. You can find the options under participants on the right. All right, looks like the ayes have it. Okay, so we're now in committee of the whole. Chair Benzea is going to take the chair, and I'm going to pull up the resolution so we can all see it. essentially what we're doing is just discussing the resolution and making any amendments as we see fit. And then once it's good to go, we'll exit committee of the whole and go on general orders.
Just like we did last time, guys, once we get to a point where we're discussing, just raise your hand and I'll add you to a list.
All right, here's the resolution. Colin, would you like to go ahead and introduce it and discuss it a little bit?
Yeah, thank you. So it's been about the past 2 weeks, I've been in different conversations with different people. I was in the meeting with the Delta Advocates, Champions for Change, and members of the executive branch and campus-wide co-presidents to talk about this. And I've also had separate meetings with Talini, who's one of the 2 campus-wide co-presidents, and she's here with us today. So my understanding of what happened, it was an IFC event where there was a lot of remarks that are just problematic, I think, to say the least. So I think how I'm viewing this is the Senate as a representative body, that we have to be advocates for the interest, health, and well-being of our constituents. So that's essentially what the whereas clause is talking about, is addressing the fact that this has been an issue that's met with a lot of complacency from the IFC and its respective fraternities regarding this event. And I just think that we have a responsibility as Senate to address this and show where we stand on this and expressing the views of our constituents on a larger platform. So in the resolved clauses, what I want to talk about is sections 1, 2, and 3. In section 1, it's basically establishing our statement that we're standing in solidarity with the survivors of sexual violence by condemning the statements and the actions and language of Hagen's speech during the IFC event, and also formally condemning the complacency of the IFC and its fraternities for allowing the perpetration of the culture of sexual violence. And then for sections 2 and 3, it's supporting resolutions that are resolutions or statements that already exist. So section 2 supports the entirety of UNC Chapel Hill's campus-wide statement, including their demands for accountability from the IFC. That can be found in Appendix A if anybody would like to read that. It has kind of the background and context on it, and then a little bit of a closing paragraph. And then in between those two, it talks about the demands and kind of the accountability metrics that we would like to see established for that. And then also I've included the undergraduate executive branch's statement there, and the piece from that I think that I really wanted to highlight was this idea of a coalition or a working group that's between leaders from the IFC, different fraternities, and different organizations and student leadership groups that really deal with sexual and gender-based violence. And then also senators and undergraduate executive branch members that have the power to do things about this. And I don't want it to be that it was excluded for the sense that we don't agree. I just think there was a lot in the campus-wide statement and the executive branch statement that overlapped. So just for sake of not being redundant, I picked that one piece from the executive branch. And then I'm going to give, and then at the end of it, we see the people that we want this to be handed to the letter, and so they see it. And I'm going to give a second. I think Talini is still in here if she wants to speak. She's one of the 2 campus-wide co-presidents, so she can give her perspective on it and her understanding from the campus-wise.
Thank you, Colin, and thank you for having me here. I'm really excited and honored to be a part of this conversation. We really released a statement, not in malice, but in support and empathy for survivors. The basis of our statement is an accountability. So we really want to, under the current structure of IFC, the accountability measures are attached to small fines if they don't participate in gender violence and sexual assault trainings. However, we want to shift that to make sure that there's a structure in place to hold accountability, and also make sure that these organizations are not do not practice complacency when stuff like these things happen. I'm down to have conversations about this. You guys can always schedule a meeting with us. Our emails are on the websites, and we also have a Calendly link. Yeah, other parts of the statement include a need to have a public statement. We believe that it's really important to address these issues and and that's the first step, but open it up to a larger conversation and acknowledge the pain that they caused. And then another one is working with the student body government and other groups on creating a curriculum that is required for IFC members to participate in. Yeah.
Thank you, Talini. And then if anybody has any questions, I'm open to hearing those too.
Yeah, before that, can everyone see the resolution? I'm not screen sharing it right now, but you should all have it available to you in the legislation folder. Okay. One thing I'll say is, Colin, are you cool with me adding Bobby as one of the recipients of the letter? Just so that we always keep on the resolutions.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Thank you.
Also, we had a petition that's reached over 900 or around 900 students. So there's a lot of student engagement with this issue.
And if anyone has anything to say, again, just put up your hand.
Sorry to bother y'all. Where is the raise hand function? I can never find it.
If you open up participants, it's on the bottom there.
It's like raise your thumb, I guess. I don't know if there's a raise hand one in this call. But we're in committee, so just go ahead and speak if you want to.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge, I'm really thankful for the cooperation of Campus Y and other stakeholders on this campus for really acting on the issue and trying to hold IFC accountable. I know from the executive branch side, me, Reeves, Raleigh, and a few others spend a lot of time writing that statement as well as having conversations, not only with members of Campus Y, but we also had conversations with the president of the IFC as well. So I really just hope that out of this resolution, we see change start to happen. And I know it's not going to be something that happens immediately, but I really hope we're building some of those foundational building blocks so that generations of Tar Heels to come don't have to face these issues, and we can support survivors going forward.
Thank you, Pri. I encourage everyone to take a quick power scan of the resolution if you haven't already done so, and make sure you're okay with the language, because this will be adopted as the official statement of the Senate. It's reflective of the Senate as a whole. So it'll give us 2 to 3 minutes for that. And then at the end of those 2 to 3 minutes, I'll call for a vote to pass the resolution out of committee, and then it'll be placed on general orders.
Motion to approve this bill? Committee of the whole?
Second.
Yes. Second. We do need to vote to leave committee. Am I right, Keshav? 1-4?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
First, I'd hear the motion on the resolution, and then we'll move to leave committee of the whole.
Okay. So second. Yeah. All in favor? Can we just do voice vote aye? Or no, we're doing the thumbs up. I'm sorry. Right.
Do a quick yes, no on the participants, please.
Okay, yeah. Same thing, guys. Believe the ayes have it. Thank you.
Motion to leave committee of the whole.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Hearing your motion, can we, same thing, guys, rate yes or no participants? We need 1/4 to leave. Yep, ayes have it.
All right, thank you, everyone. Give me 1 second. Okay. We now left committee of the whole, and we're back on the general orders calendar. So we'll be hearing the resolution again at the end of the general orders calendar. Right now, we'll be hearing USB 10205, the external appointments bill. We pulled that up, and Chair Barrett will be presenting this bill. So Baxter, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, we've all seen this bill before. The major change since then is we have removed senators from being able to hold another office. We've also removed SAC as an exception to the dual office prohibition. The rest of it is the same as from last time it was in full Senate.
You should all have access to it again in the folder, but just in case, I'll share my screen here. Are there any questions for Chair Barrett? Ashna, you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a question behind the reasoning of why senior advisors are not included as having that restriction from having an external appointment. I know it's stated in the whereas clause, but I guess a little bit of just explanation on that.
Sure. The reason for that is that, so part of the reason, just to clarify, that the other positions aren't excluded is that they have, most of them have specific external appointments that are granted in the code automatically by virtue of their position. And that's so that they have external appointments that are relevant to what they're doing and are not doing other external appointments. For senior advisors, because they don't have a specialized role and they don't have other external appointments in the code, and they also are supposed to pursue their own agendas outside of the administration, we thought it would be reasonable for them to be able to continue serving in external appointments.
Yeah, and if I may, I'd like to extend speaking privileges to Pri so that she can defend the bill, because it's also her prerogative. So it's not up for vote if she's already defending the bill. So Pri, go ahead. If you want to speak some more on the bill.
Yeah, so Baxter gave a little bit of a justification for including senior advisors. Just want to reiterate what he has to say about that. Senior advisors aren't really tasked with working on a specific initiative or policy theme, nor are they assigned to specific external appointments. They're more so there to advise the president, but also work with some of the cabinet committees. So for that reason, we didn't think that they should be excluded. We thought that they should be excluded from the dual prohibition clause. But yeah, I'm in support of this bill. Working with R&J last week was a really great opportunity for us just to discuss some of the issues that had been presented at last month's Senate meeting. So at this time, I see no issues with the bill, but would love to open up the floor to a discussion if anyone has opposition or is in support of the bill.
Thank you, Free. Are there any other questions for Chair Barrett, or motions to enter debate may also be heard?
I motion to enter debate.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, if everyone could hit either yes, no, or coffee break on the side again. All right. The yeses have it, so we're now in debate. If you'd like to speak, please raise your thumb, I suppose, on the side. Yeah, Ashna, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so I guess one other question is the discussion of cabinet chairs. So cabinet chair positions are specifically outlined in the code for like which external appointments they have to sit on for some of them. If not all, I'm not sure about all of them, but so would this clause have to extend to them? And I just want to know like everybody's opinion on that.
Sorry, Ashna, would you mind repeating that? I got distracted for a second.
Yeah, okay. So my question is, so if senior advisors are not going to be part of this clause because they don't have an outlined role specifically in terms of like they're there to advise the president and work with different committee chairs, are committee chairs which have positions outlined in the code also supposed to be included from being should committee chairs be restricted from holding external appointments because they are also outlined in the code to hold certain external appointments and have outlined roles?
Right, so right now, as per the bill that was passed last session, it's codified that committee chairs do have certain external appointments that kind of relate to their position. We didn't want to mess with that just because as it is, people are limited to 2 external appointments, and that's one of theirs. I think the purpose of having them in that external appointment was because their work already kind of relates to that, and so I figured Will last session wanted them to like work in tandem with the committee. I can't speak too much to it, but I do think the case is different. I think there's a reason. There is a reason for why they're allowed to work with the committee that's like directly related to their work in exec.
Oh, sorry, Baxter. So my question was specifically like, I know that they already hold certain external appointments per the code,
Okay.
but should they only hold those external appointments, or should they be able to also apply to other external appointments? If that's better clarification.
Baxter, go ahead.
So that's not something that we've that this bill changes. They were already not allowed, or they were already there have never been restrictions on them holding other external appointments, and that's a discussion I think we can have, but I think it's that would be a change to the code, and most of this is not a change. Most of this is just like, even though we're spelling out what the student body officers are, that's the only change we made was to remove senior advisors, and so that's certainly something we can discuss, but that's not really something this bill addresses.
Does that answer your question, Ashna?
Yeah, sorry. I thought that the code already said that committee chairs were not, or I think it said cabinet is not allowed to hold other external appointment positions, but I wasn't sure whether or not like this was a clarification on that. So I guess they're just not included within this bill.
Yeah, my bad. You're right about that.
Are there any other questions? Motions for amendments? Motions to whatever y'all may wish. All right, I'm not seeing anything, so I'll just say my 2 cents. The external appointment process is, as it is right now in the code, not perfect by any means. But I think R&J did some really good work last week in finding commonality on what we agree upon and what we believe should be included and not included in the bill. I think that if we want to have further discussion about more smaller details, more specific things that we potentially want included in the appointment process or taken out, we can have that discussion in the next meeting. But I think this bill as it is repairing some changes that were made last session. And I think that, in my opinion, I feel like it's good to go. If anybody else feels strongly about that, they can speak up. But I personally feel like this bill is good to go as is. Yeah, Baxter?
Yeah, Ashna, if you want to, if you think that cabinet chairs should not be able to hold other external appointments, then propose an amendment, and I'm willing to debate that and see where the Senate stands on that. But yeah, it's up to you. Otherwise, I think we should vote on this bill if nobody else has anything to say.
Considering I am a co-sponsor, wouldn't it be immediately just deemed friendly if I propose the amendment, or would it still go up to debate?
Technically, the co-sponsors don't have the ability to don't have any special privilege in the code, so they don't have any ability to deem something friendly or unfriendly. And since Laura's not here, it would automatically go up for debate.
Okay, then I propose an amendment to add cabinet level positions or committee chairs as clarification to the section 105 service clause.
Actually, you're going to deem that friendly or unfriendly?
That's only Lamar's decision to make, and he's not here. So, yeah, it should go up for debate. Say that again.
Okay. Do we vote on that? On going to debate, or just?
It's a debatable amendment that anybody can call for a vote, or you can ask if we want to vote. And
okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything to do? Are there any points that anyone would like to bring up about the amendment? Do people understand the amendment? Are there any questions? Basically, what Ashton's proposing is that we exclude cabinet co-chairs as well. And Section 105 from holding additional external appointments. Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up a point related to the cabinet positions. So I think some of the logic for why some of the cabinet positions weren't included was because not all cabinet co-chairs are technically assigned external appointments. When I was talking to Will about kind of the logic behind why he chose to give certain cabinet co-chairs certain external appointments, there wasn't honestly a ton of planning behind it. And he in those discussions, he had mentioned to us that those assignments were something that initially he had made pretty limited, so that Senate and executive branch at a future date could go about potentially assigning further external appointments to some of the cabinet co-chairs that don't have them right now under the code. I think the other reason why was initially we were proposing a clause specifically related to the Student Advising Committee to the Chancellor, and some of the other committees that work with some of the higher level administrators, where a lot of those offices and a lot of those administrators have mentioned a desire for lifetime appointments because of the relationships that are built within those offices and with those administrators. Right now and historically, individuals who have sat on those external appointments have usually been senior advisors and potentially cabinet co-chairs. So as a result, we ended up removing the clause that would limit that would stop cabinet co-chairs from being able to sit wait, sorry, I have to explain this. It's a little confusing again. So we ended up removing the SAC clause and removing the, and as a result, removing the part of the dual prohibition clause that would limit members of cabinet from the dual prohibition clause. Sorry, that was a little confusing, but that was kind of all of the thinking behind why the bill is kind of the way it was, from my understanding and from some of the conversations we had within last week's R&J. If you need me to clarify that, totally open to it.
I just wanted clarification. So you said that you were discussing whether or not to add certain assign external appointments to certain committee chairs that weren't already assigned, or
no, this was more when this is before the transition into this administration, when Will was talking to us through how he developed this bill. He had mentioned that the assignments of external appointments to cabinet co-chairs as they currently stand is actually pretty preliminary. He wanted the current Senate and current executive branch to have the power to change them, add them, remove them as they saw fit, which is why at this time, I don't personally feel comfortable limiting the executive branch cabinet co-chairs from being able to sit on certain external appointments until we work out what we think the appropriate assignments are for all of the cabinet co-chairs in regards to external appointments. That was one reason as to why at this time I don't think we should limit them, and could be a change we propose in the future.
okay, thank you.
We're hearing any more discussion about the proposed amendment or a motion to vote on the amendment.
Motion to vote on amendment.
I'll second that.
So that's specifically a motion to include an amendment to exclude cabinet co-chairs from holding external appointments. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and it's been seconded. Okay, so I'm going to do a roll call vote. So as per our new rules, everyone please vote yes or no on the side. Note that a yes vote is a vote to include cabinet co-chairs in the exclusion of holding additional external appointments outside the ones they currently are assigned to hold. And a no vote is to keep the bill as is. All right, I've got all the votes. Give me 1 second, let me tally them. Don't remove your vote from the thing. So I'll take a screenshot of this 1 second. My apologies. All right, seeing that the amendment has failed, we're still in debate over the bill. We'll now hear other points regarding the bill itself, or if anyone would like to make a motion to exit debate, that'll also be heard.
Motion to exit debate.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All right, everyone hit a quick yes, no. All right, we've now left debate. Is there a motion on the floor? Ideally to adopt the bill.
when we exit debate, we move automatically into voting.
Oh, into, right.
Yeah, the
Okay.
same thing.
Okay. All right. So we're now voting on adopting the bill. A yes vote is to adopt the bill as is. A no vote is to not adopt the bill. So everyone, please give me a quick yes, no. And am I waiting on one more? No. Okay. So with a unanimous vote, the bill has been passed. Thank you all. Give me 1 second. Hold on. All right. Beautiful. Okay. Moving down the agenda, we are now hearing the resolution to introduce our ethical code of conduct. So if everyone could pull that up and take a quick look. Vera, do you want to talk about the?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so basically in the code, we have a new stipulation that the ethics chair developed a code of conduct just as sort of a better, more specific guideline of how senators should act while we're in meetings and other official business. So Keshav and I got together maybe a week or so ago, and we got together and outlined just a basic code of conduct, which really is like a more elaborate golden rule for senators. Don't swear, don't yell at your peers, just basically behave in a way that befits the office. So if you guys have any questions about it, anything like that, we're all free to answer questions for you guys, anything you want to discuss. But basically all it outlines is how to act, and that if you fail to meet those requirements, you could be subject to action by the ethics committee. I honestly don't think these are requirements that you guys wouldn't instinctively know. So.
All right, thank you, Drew. Are there any questions for Drew? All right, I don't see any questions. Are there any motions on the floor?
Motion to move to adopt the bill.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so this requires a 2/3 vote, just so everyone's aware. So if you would please, again, vote yes or no on the side. Beautiful. With another unanimous vote, we have adopted this resolution. Give me 1 second so I can update the spreadsheet. Great. Okay. Clear all that. All right, and then the last item on our agenda is to take another look at the concurrent resolution that Colin has proposed. Colin, if you want to re-propose it, you may. You can keep it brief to like a few words since we've already heard from you.
Yeah, I just want to really reemphasize this to you all as an important issue that we need to be reactive towards, especially considering the statement that Talini gave earlier about the petition that has around 900 signatures from students, which is pretty substantial when we talk about students being actively involved in things. So our constituents care about this, and I just advise you to keep that in mind as we vote.
Thank you, Colin. Are there any questions for Colin? Or motions on the floor?
To make a motion to adopt the resolution.
There's been a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Once again, everybody, please vote yes, no, or coffee break. And please note this requires a 2/3 vote. All right, I think we're waiting on one more. Did someone get kicked out of the meeting? Oh, I see. Okay. All right, with the vote of 13 to 0 to 1, the resolution has passed. Thank you all. Give me 1 second. Sorry for the delays. I'm jumping in between Zoom and my spreadsheet. All right, I recorded that. All right, that concludes our general orders calendar, all legislation. Thank you all for being so patient. Do we have any notices and announcements? All right, I'd like to make a pretty short announcement. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you all taking time during the summer to attend these meetings. Because we are a representative body and we work for student government, we're still required to meet over the summer. So this is part of our obligation. So I still applaud you all for attending. Just a quick few notes. Please do sign up for a meeting with me and Maya as soon as you can. I'll release a new spreadsheet for next week if this week's time don't work for you guys. And besides that, I'll also release a when to meet for our next full Senate meeting, which will be in between summer session 1, summer session 2. But besides that, I have nothing else. Is there a motion on the floor? Oh, sorry, Baxter.
I just want to mention the code test one more time to complete that before our next meeting. It's not supposed to be a difficult test. It's just supposed to be a chance for you all to look through the code and become familiar with it. So that's take advantage of that opportunity and look at what we emphasized and what is in the code so you're familiar with it when we debate it in full Senate.
Thank you, Baxter. Any other notices or announcements? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to adjourn.
Beautiful. Is there a second?
Second.
Awesome. Okay, everyone, please vote yes, no, or abstain. Yes is a vote to adjourn. No is you want to stay here for a bit longer, and abstain is you're not quite sure. Perfect. Okay, with a vote of 14 to 0 to 0, this meeting has been adjourned. Thank you all so much for attending, and have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, sorry, that was me who messaged you.
Yeah, I was just reading it. Yeah, you're likely abroad. Oh, so are you studying abroad next semester?
No, I thought this was talking about from summers 1 through 2. Somerset, the time.
Yeah.
I was talking about for next meeting.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you'll be abroad, don't worry about it. Because it's summer, like we're pretty lenient with that with the absences. And so if you're going to be absent from like June 19th to like 21st or whatever those dates are, just let me and Drew know, and we'll work with you.
All right, thank you. I'll know way over a week beforehand. All right, thank you. Stay healthy. Bye.
No clue what I'm doing. Oh, that was recorded. Hello, public.